10 best countries with zero income tax. Citizens across the world are burdened with high income taxes. However, there are some countries where people are not charged any tax on their income. Instead of income taxes, these countries have alternative sources of revenues to fund their governments, such as tourism, investing, oil production, or mining. Although taking advantage and living in a no-income tax country isn't as easy as packing a bag and paying your plane ticket. In most instances, the process is lengthy and expensive. In no particular order, let's look at the 10 best countries with zero income tax. Do not forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell before we continue. Number 10. Western Sahara. Western Sahara is a non-self-governing territory with a market-based economy, the main industries of which are fishing, phosphate mining, tourism, and pastoral nomadism. As a result of its unresolved legal status, Western Sahara's natural resources are often at risk of exploitation. As part of an effort to integrate Western Sahara into the Moroccan kingdom, Morocco has established a substantial military presence in the territory and offered incentives to its citizens to immigrate there. Number 9. Vatican City. The economy of the Holy See is primarily supported through investments, real estate income, and donations. The separate Vatican City state is a 121-acre walled area within the city of Rome. Both are ruled by the Bishop of Rome, otherwise known as the Pope. Vatican City gets owned by the sale of stamps, coins, medals, and other tourist mementos, museum admission fees, and publication sales. In February of 2014, as part of a campaign to reform the Holy See's finances due to the growing deficit, the Secretariat of the Economy was created to oversee financial and administrative operations. Vatican City citizenship is limited to individuals in these specific circumstances: cardinals residing in either the Vatican City state or in Rome, Holy See diplomats, authorized residents of the Vatican City state, those with papal authorization to reside in the state, and the spouses and or children of local citizens. Number 8. Vanuatu. Contrary to the typical island economy on this list, over a fourth of Vanuatu's GDP is derived from agriculture, which employs approximately 2/3 of the population. That said, tourism, offshore financial services, and fishing are also major industries. After tourism took a hit due to damage caused by Cyclone Palm, the government has been working to bolster the sector in addition to ramping up livestock farming. The path to Vanuatu citizenship is straightforward, if somewhat pricey. After completing the initial FIU clearance process, which includes a $10,000 fee, one must then make a donation of $135,000 to a single person or $185,000 to a family of 4 through the Vanuatu Development Support Program. Number 7. Turks and Caicos Islands. The Turks and Caicos Islands have remained a British overseas territory since 1962, even after briefly becoming independent in 1982. The economy of these islands heavily revolves around tourism, financial services, and fishing. The service sector accounts for more than 90% of total GDP. In order to become eligible for a residence permit, one must be of independent means, rent or own a house, be capable of investing up to $500,000, or be married to local residents. Those meeting any of the above criteria simply need to submit an application form to the Director of Immigration and pay a relatively small fee. Number 6. The United Arab Emirates. Although the United Arab Emirates long derived most of its wealth from oil and natural gas, this Middle Eastern country successfully diversified its economy to the point that the energy sector only accounts for 30% of its GDP. Now the industries and services sector each account for nearly 1/2 of the UAE's total GDP. The country has a high standard of living, and there has been a recent increase in spending on creating jobs and expanding infrastructure. Part of the UAE's strategic plan for the next few years is creating additional job opportunities for foreign nationals. To work in the UAE, an expert must be sponsored by a local resident or business through the Kafala sponsorship program. However, visas are only granted temporarily and will have to be renewed. A loss of the sponsored jobs will mean having to leave the country. Number 5. The Bahamas. Tourism accounts for half of both the Bahamas' GDP and its labor force. The archipelago's financial services sector, accounting for 15% of GDP, is considered the second most important. Additionally, the Bahamas is the sole country in the Western Hemisphere that isn't part of the World Trade Organization. As part of the Immigration Act of the Bahamas, immigration is possible for foreign investors via a residential property purchase of at least $500,000, so long as one proves they have sufficient means to support themselves and any dependents and then resides in the country for up to 10 years. Number 4. St. Kitts and Nevis. The economy of St. Kitts and Nevis relies on tourism, an industry that replaced the original mainstay, sugar, in 1970. In fact, the government shut down the sugar industry in 2005 after operating at a loss for several decades. Despite efforts to diversify its agricultural sector, St. Kitts and Nevis has one of the highest debts to GDP ratios in the world. As a partial solution to its monetary woes, St. Kitts and Nevis provides economic citizenship programs for foreign nationals. Experts can obtain residence through financial investments in the island. Number 3. St. Barthelemy. After being traded between France and Sweden from 1648 to 1877, St. Barthelemy became a French overseas collectivity in 2007. The economy of the island primarily revolves around tourism and luxury commerce, with the former responsible for the largest share of local employment. There is a notably high cost of living. St. Barthelemy became an EU overseas territory in 2012. This has permitted its government to control the immigration process for foreign workers, including non-French European citizens. Number 2. Qatar. Qatar shares many similarities to Kuwait. Its economy is also reliant on oil, though in Qatar's case, its energy sector rakes in additional profits from natural gas. Despite this, industry accounts for more than half of the country's GDP, which is also true in Kuwait. Unfortunately, according to the CIA, another similarity Qatar shares with its fellow Middle Eastern country is that it is a place where many workers are subject to forced labor. Those looking to reside and work in Qatar will need to have already secured a position at a local company, in addition to getting police clearance from their native nation. In 2017, Qatar replaced visa requirements for visitors from more than 80 countries, including the US, with a waiver system. This means that visitors can arrive without a visa and stay for either 30 or 90 days, depending on national origin. Number 1. Pitcairn. Also settled by HMS Bounty mutineers, Pitcairn is the last remnant of the British Empire in the South Pacific. This British overseas territory's economy mainly revolves around fishing, farming, handicrafts, and postage stamps. The island's population is currently estimated at only 50 people. Pitcairn's immigration process is almost astonishingly straightforward. All that has to be done is fill out a settlement application form, pay a fee, and then participate in an interview with the island's deputy governor. There you have it, guys. 10 best countries with zero income tax. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell.